I woke up in the body of the male protagonist of a novel, a man who suffered endlessly. On the very day her beloved returned to the country, the female protagonist, Natalie, didn't hesitate to ask me for a divorce. And it all happened on our 3rd wedding anniversary. I agreed without even thinking twice, because I knew that within a month she would be involved in a car accident that would leave her paraplegic, confined to a wheelchair for the rest of her life. Henry, sign here. You know I never really loved you. Just sign, and I'll give you 20 million. Domi is back. We're getting a divorce. I looked up at her in confusion. What? This feeling was far too familiar, like I was living inside the tragic novel I had read during countless sleepless nights. In an instant, memories flooded my mind. There was no doubt anymore. I had transmigrated. I had become the male protagonist, Henry. The woman standing in front of me, demanding a divorce, was the female protagonist. I glanced at the romantic, candlelit dinner laid out on the table and suddenly remembered that today was supposed to be the wedding anniversary of the original protagonists. Asking for a divorce on a day like this was truly despicable. I'm warning you, Natalie snapped when I didn't respond. If you don't agree, do you really think I can't have you kicked out of the entertainment industry in an instant? Of course I knew. The original Henry was just a third-rate actor, always stuck playing minor roles as the 5th or 6th male lead. Natalie, on the other hand, was the daughter of the Lynn conglomerate's tycoon. Crushing me would be easier for her than squashing an ant. In the novel, the original Henry refused. But I didn't. I gave her a cold look, picked up the contract, and began reading it carefully, clicking my tongue in dissatisfaction. 20 million. You came up with that amount. What do you take me for, a beggar? Fixed price, 50 million. Natalie's face darkened immediately. Through clenched teeth, she said, Henry, so all you really want is my money. If I were the original Henry, those words would have pierced my heart. But I no longer loved her. I didn't care about losing everything, but I wasn't about to let her shortchange me either. I'm not like those male protagonists in romance novels who shout about not letting money humiliate them. I'm a very practical person. You know I'm an unrecognized actor, but Dominic isn't. He's a top-tier star who just returned from studying abroad. If people find out he's involved with a married woman, wouldn't that be a huge scandal? I looked straight at her. I know you can suppress it, but how much time and effort would it cost? 50 million, and I promise I won't say a word about our relationship. Natalie was an exceptional businesswoman. After weighing the pros and cons, although her face clearly showed her irritation, she finally nodded. I grabbed my bag and, before leaving, threw out one last line. Remember to pay the bill. Then I walked away without looking back. Natalie's efficiency was truly astonishing. That very night, I received the divorce agreement. Early the next morning, we went to the civil affairs office together, and by the afternoon, 50 million had been transferred into my account. I moved out of the house as quickly as possible and went to stay with my agent. My agent was the original body's childhood friend, and the apartment he lived in had been fully paid for by the original Henry over the years. He was one of the few people who knew about my relationship with Natalie. Divorced? He asked. I nodded. Yeah. Divorced. He watched as I dragged in luggage of all sizes, then stared at me in disbelief after hearing the explanation. Wait, weren't you just celebrating your 3rd wedding anniversary with Natalie yesterday? Yesterday was yesterday. Today is today. No one could have imagined that someone who had been so excited about spending his life with Natalie just yesterday would now be divorced. Not only was I unbothered, I even said proudly, divorced, and I got 50 million out of it. Look at you, so easily satisfied, Martin said, giving me a disapproving look. Even if you were divorcing her, you should have squeezed more out of Natalie. 50 million is too little. Considering Natalie's net worth of several billion, 50 million really was too little. It wasn't that I hadn't thought about asking for more. But once I remembered that she would be paralyzed in a month, I couldn't wait to cut ties with her. 50 million was an amount she could accept without hesitation. Any more and she likely wouldn't have agreed, and delaying the divorce was the last thing I wanted. I didn't want to end up like the original Henry, proving his true love after Natalie became disabled, getting abandoned by Dominic, and still clinging to her for life. I didn't discriminate against the disabled. I discriminated against Natalie. While Martin helped unpack, I went to the kitchen and poured 2 glasses of water. When I came back, I heard him cursing at his phone. Damn it! These 2 scoundrels actually went public. Went public. I walked over to take a look. Hashtag top male star Dominic and Natalie relationship hashtag, tagged with a huge explosive. This bitch, Martin cursed. Did she forget how Dominic dumped her and ran abroad when the Lin family was struggling? 3 years ago, the Lin family had taken a serious hit. It wasn't bankruptcy, but it was bad enough. Dominic, who was Natalie's boyfriend at the time, somehow got wind of it and immediately broke up with her. He ignored her pleas, even when she knelt in front of him. He never looked back. I didn't want to dwell on it, so I turned off the phone. Why bother? Let's go eat something good. Martin immediately perked up and started getting ready. Typical foodie. In the past, the original Henry and Martin relied on each other in the orphanage. They went to college together, lived in basements together, and supported each other all the way to their current lives. In the original story, Martin was the only one who never abandoned Henry. At the restaurant, I told him to loosen up. He ordered a few dishes, but they were clearly the cheapest ones. When the waiter handed me the menu, I added 2 more dishes Martin liked, though they weren't cheap. After the waiter left, Martin said quietly, "We didn't really need to come to a place like this." "What's there to be afraid of?" I said. "If we run out of money, we can always earn more." He smiled and nodded. True. As we waited for the food, both of us scrolled through our phones. Then a familiar voice rang out. "Henry, didn't expect it to really be you. You really like taking other people's things, don't you?" I looked up. Dominic's exquisitely handsome face came into view. He was undeniably good-looking, one of the rare celebrities with genuine star charisma. Before I went abroad, I always sat here. Best view in the place. Even if Natalie doesn't like you, you didn't have to follow me here and steal my seat. Dominic leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Things you take from others never last." Natalie walked over, and Dominic naturally wrapped an arm around her waist, his demeanor changing instantly. They looked incredibly intimate. "Henry," Dominic said softly, "you know I love sitting here. Is it because Natalie chose me and not you? If so, I'll leave." His acting was flawless. If he used this skill in his dramas, no one would mock him for poor acting. Natalie grabbed him immediately. "It's just a seat. Sit anywhere. If it's really a problem, I'll buy the whole restaurant." Then she turned to me. 1 million. Get out of this spot. Now. People nearby looked over. Dominic watched me smugly, waiting for heartbreak. Instead, I pulled out my phone and held up the payment code. "Ms. Lin, please scan." "I'll leave immediately." Natalie transferred the money. As soon as it arrived, I grabbed Martin and moved to another table, asking the waiter to bring our dishes over. Martin was furious. "You're really just going to let her insult you like that?" I winked. 1 million. It's just a seat. Never mess with money. "But you used to hate taking her money," he said. "You always wanted to prove you weren't with her for money." That was awkward. The original Henry had been frugal, hard-working, and sincere, but hopelessly stupid in love. "From now on," I said, "rule number 1, never talk about the stupid things I did before. Compared to fake love, money is far more reliable." Martin gave me a thumbs up. I thought that was the end of it. But someone took photos and posted them online. Dominic and Natalie, of course, were swarmed by paparazzi, and I ended up as the background again. Comments flooded in, calling me a third wheel, a clout chaser, a washed-up actor. Then Martin came back from a call. "Henry, the production team changed the male lead to Dominic. The show was invested in by the Lin family. In the original story, Natalie gave Dominic the role to please him." "It's just a change in lead," I said. "But the lead is Dominic," Martin said nervously. "You have scenes together, water scenes, slap scenes." His worry wasn't unfounded, and I knew this was only the beginning. But as for me, the original body wasn't bad-looking at all. We were even known as the top 2 handsome guys on campus. Once, at a cultural evening event, the original body and Dominic performed together as dual male leads. During rehearsals, everything went smoothly. But during the actual performance, there was a scene where one of them was supposed to slap the other. It was meant to be a fake slap, yet Dominic struck him with full force. The original body was stunned. After a brief moment of shock, he clenched his teeth and finished the scene. Afterward, the drama club held a dinner to celebrate the flawless performance. Natalie came as well, accompanying Dominic. The slap had been so hard that the swelling on the original body's face didn't go down for hours, and even foundation couldn't cover the fingerprint marks. Seeing this, Dominic gasped. "Ah, Henry, I didn't mean to. I just thought, what if we really slapped? It'd make the scene look more realistic, don't you think?" He added apologetically, "I'm really sorry, but for the sake of a better effect, I'm sure you're willing to make that small sacrifice, right?" Everyone exchanged glances, but no one spoke. It was obvious to all that Dominic had done it on purpose. Even if it had been a real slap, there was no need to hit that hard. And Dominic was Natalie's boyfriend. On top of that, the largest entertainment company in the country belonged to the Lin family. No one wanted to offend them before graduating. The original body sneered. "Dominic's right. When performing a death scene, should you also really die? After all, making small sacrifices for art, what's the big deal?" Everyone sucked in a sharp breath. Dominic's eyes immediately reddened, and he looked at Natalie with a guilty expression. "Natalie, I really didn't mean to." "I believe you," Natalie said. While comforting Dominic, she turned to the original body and added, "Henry, you don't need to target Dominic. Yes, I rejected your confession, but you don't have to attack Domi. I only love him." Hearing that, the original body froze. He hadn't expected Natalie to say something like that in front of everyone. And Dominic didn't seem surprised at all. Clearly, he already knew. When the original body had confessed to Natalie, she hadn't even been with Dominic yet. She rejected him outright, and after that, he never pursued her again. It wasn't until she publicly announced her relationship with Dominic that everything became clear. Everyone's gaze shifted to the original body. His face, already burning with embarrassment, grew even hotter. Looking back now, he couldn't help wondering why he had ever been involved with a woman like Natalie. She could dislike him or reject him, but she had no right to bring it up in front of a crowd. A woman like that was truly low. At that thought, I couldn't help clenching my fists. Damn the plot's influence. Otherwise, the original body would never have fallen for Natalie. But the show had to go on. Even though Harem was a big male lead drama, my character still had plenty of screen time and lines. The script was good, the production team was solid, and since I had already signed the contract, I wasn't about to pay the penalty for breaking it and give up the role. In the original story, the original body had refused to appear in the show simply because Dominic was the male lead, even willing to pay the penalty. In the end, the role meant for the original body was given to someone else, and that role went on to become hugely popular, earning the title of Best Supporting Actor that year. Since we were part of the same production team, running into each other was inevitable. The first few scenes passed without incident. But Natalie frequently visited the set, and every time she came, the entire crew would stop working for half a day because of her presence. The director was originally a very serious person and hadn't been happy when the male lead was changed to Dominic instead of the actor he had originally chosen. Now, with progress constantly delayed because of Dominic, the director's expression had grown even more sour. "Henry, can you still eat?" Martin asked. I took a big gulp of my Starbucks drink and bit into a pastry. I was naturally thin, and since the role required me to look a bit fuller, I didn't need to worry about dieting at all. "Why can't I eat? Look at them." Martin pointed toward Dominic and Natalie. Natalie was sitting on Dominic's lap, the two of them so intimate they looked like they were about to kiss. I quickly raised my hand to shield my eyes, blocking Martin's view as well. "Don't look. Be careful or you'll get styes." In that moment, I could only describe the scene as painful to the eyes. It was like watching someone urinate in public. No difference at all. "Are you really not upset? I've already told you, I don't like her anymore. Why don't you believe me?" It wasn't Martin's fault. I had liked Natalie far too much before, to the point of doing anything for her. Stop overthinking. Free food and drinks, what's not to like? The director didn't say anything, and as a small supporting role, I didn't have much room to speak either. Dominic's favorite thing to do every day was show off his relationship with Natalie. The media kept running headlines about them. Small ones every 3 days, big ones every 5. Their ship fans were deeply invested. What I looked forward to most now wasn't anything else, but how Dominic would react after Natalie's accident. A month passed quickly. By morning, we had already filmed 3 scenes. During the break, Martin immediately brought his phone over to me. Natalie's been in a car accident. It's serious. She's still in the emergency room. At the same time, Dominic hurriedly asked the director for leave. Filming was nothing compared to visiting Natalie in the hospital. That was clearly the priority. I was sure he had already contacted the reporters beforehand. I sneered inwardly. He probably didn't know that Natalie's accident wasn't minor at all. She would need an amputation. After finishing my scenes, I went home early to rest. Bored, I scrolled through my phone. Natalie's condition could no longer be hidden. Paparazzi leaks were already spreading online. Natalie had lost her leg. Her fans went crazy, flooding Dominic's posts with comments. "Domi, say something. Is it true that President Schur lost her leg? Even if it's true, Domi, you love her so much, you wouldn't give up on her, right? It's just an amputation. Nothing can break Domi and President Schur's love. They'll survive this trial." As the comments piled up, Dominic still hadn't responded. In the original story, although it wasn't widely known that the protagonist and Natalie were married, they indeed were, and Dominic didn't make a big show of his relationship with her. Because of that, even though they had fans, it wasn't overwhelming. But this time was different. Dominic and Natalie had publicly announced their relationship, and for the past month, they had been flaunting their love everywhere. I was happily munching on fruit when a familiar number suddenly appeared on my screen. I hesitated briefly, but still answered the call. Before I could speak, a sharp voice rang out from the other side. "Henry, where the hell have you been? I'm warning you, you need to get to the hospital within half an hour." It was Monica, Natalie's mother. Monica had never liked the original protagonist. The only reason the protagonist had been with Natalie was because he once saved her grandmother. Before she passed, Natalie's grandmother wanted to see her granddaughter married, so she chose the protagonist. Monica had always looked down on him for being an orphan. She probably didn't know that Natalie and I were already divorced. At first, I didn't want to go. But when I thought about how entertaining this situation could be, I couldn't resist. With a sense of schadenfreude, I quickly got dressed and headed to the hospital. The Lin family had money, so the hospital belonged to them. That was why there were no other patients on the floor, only Natalie. When I entered the room, Natalie lay on the bed with her eyes closed, still unconscious. Dominic and Monica stood by her side. Dominic immediately rushed toward me. "Henry, why did you come so late? Natalie's condition is really serious." "Her leg." "I know," I said. "I saw it on the media." "So why haven't you come to take care of her yet?" Hearing this, Monica completely lost it. She stormed over and raised her hand to slap me. I quickly grabbed her wrist. Monica was in her 50s. There was no way she could overpower someone in their 20s. "Mrs. Monica, if you want to talk, then talk. Are you planning to hit me?" I let go, and she staggered back a few steps, nearly falling. You've gone too far. How dare you stop me?" The original protagonist had always respected Monica because she was Natalie's mother. But that had nothing to do with me. If I hadn't stopped you, would you have hit me? So what exactly do you want me to do here? What else? You're going to quit the entertainment industry and stay home to take care of my daughter. Monica, how much are you going to pay me for that? Her eyes widened in disbelief. What did you say? You want money? Of course. I'm no longer involved with your daughter. You probably don't know, but Natalie and I are already divorced. And now her boyfriend is standing right next to you, Dominic. Dominic had always been Monica's ideal son-in-law. So it's all because of this, she said coldly. Fine. Here's the deal. If you quit the entertainment industry and stay with Natalie to take care of her, the Lin family will publicly announce your relationship with Natalie. She looked at me with disdain, her tone dripping with mockery. Her posture and manner were exactly like her daughter's. She was certain I would never leave Natalie, divorced or not. Ma'am, are you out of your mind? These days, even hiring a caregiver costs money. What kind of relationship do you think I have with your daughter? You want me to take care of her for free? Fine, if I have to do it, it'll cost $10 million a month. Monica gasped. You're crazy. At that moment, Natalie's voice came from the bed. She had woken up. Monica rushed to her side. I stayed far away, even farther than Dominic. It was clear Natalie had just realized the severity of her condition and was in shock. No, this can't be happening. My leg. Mom, are you lying to me? I just had anesthesia, that's why I can't feel it, right? Crossing my arms from a distance, I said calmly, No. It's real. You really lost your leg. Natalie trembled, and Monica shot me a venomous glare. I shrugged. I just think every patient deserves to know the truth about their condition. Mom, is what he's saying true? Natalie asked, tears filling her eyes. Monica didn't answer. Natalie turned to me, her gaze full of desperate hope. Henry, are you taking revenge on me? What you're saying isn't true, right? With her eyes fixed on me, I replied slowly, Who's taking revenge? Your hands still work, right? Just lift the blanket and see for yourself. In disbelief, Natalie tried to move, but Monica quickly pressed her down and called for the doctor. After leaving the room, Monica immediately began scolding me. Henry, how could you say that to Natalie? I'm telling you, even if you kneel in front of me, I will never allow you to be with my daughter again. I honestly wanted to know what kind of nonsense was going on in her head. Her precious daughter, once perfect, was now not only missing a leg but would soon be targeted by Lin Group's higher-ups. She would lose her position, her status, and her assets, slowly draining away until bankruptcy. Who would want your crippled daughter? I said bluntly. Monica's face flushed red as her gaze landed on Dominic, as if trying to prove something. She grabbed Dominic's arm and said arrogantly, Without you, there's still Domi. If it weren't for you, Domi would already be my son-in-law. Before Natalie's accident, this kind of situation would have filled Dominic with pride. But now, his expression lacked all confidence. He yanked his arm free and pretended to be busy as he pulled out his phone. Mrs. Monica, I have something urgent. I'll leave now and come back to visit you and Natalie later. With that, Dominic hurried away, his pace faster than usual, as if afraid Monica would grab him again. I couldn't help laughing, and Monica's face darkened further. Henry, don't you regret it, she said. Even though our Natalie has had an accident and lost a leg, with the Lin family's power, who do you think would be afraid of us? Having seen enough of the drama, I waved my hand and turned to leave. Without Natalie around, the production team finally returned to its normal schedule. What I didn't expect was that Dominic would release an official statement saying he would continue to be with Natalie and would never leave her, earning himself a wave of praise online. Our Domi is so genuine, handsome, and kind-hearted. Those who said he'd leave Natalie must feel stupid now. True love can overcome anything. The ship I support is the sweetest. Seeing Domi and Miss Lin together makes me believe in love again. As I scrolled through the praise and admiration, I felt nothing but disgust. Suddenly, a voice called from above. Henry! It was Dominic, the big star, walking over to me. What's up? You must have been waiting to watch me make a fool of myself. Sorry to disappoint you. I've decided to stay with Natalie. So that was why he came over. I raised an eyebrow. So how many shares did Monica give you from the Lin family? Dominic's eyes widened. How do you know? He glanced around to make sure no one was listening, then stopped talking. I chuckled. Monica had told me that even though Natalie had lost a leg, she could still get married. I wasn't surprised at all. After all, the Lin family still had money. Dominic, don't say I didn't warn you. There are plenty of people in the Lin family eyeing Natalie. Right now she's still the one in charge, but that might not be the case in the future. Are you sure you want to spend your life with a person like Natalie? Dominic was simple-minded, but after hearing my analysis, I could see doubt creeping into his expression. I shrugged and continued, If you really love Natalie and want to spend your life with her, then just forget everything I said. I stood up, walked past him, and headed to the bathroom. I never expected Natalie would contact me. After all, we were already divorced. If she needed someone, it should have been Dominic. But when I saw a familiar number flashing on my screen, I couldn't help but frown. After hesitating for a moment, I answered the call. There was a brief silence on the other end. Then a tired, hoarse voice spoke. "Henry." I could almost detect a trace of longing in her voice. "Do you need something?" I replied coldly. There was silence for a few seconds before she spoke again. "How did we end up like this? We shouldn't be like this. Didn't you love me? Didn't you promise you would never give up on me? Why did you divorce me so easily this time? And you didn't even come to see me or take care of me. I haven't had your cooking in so long. I want to drink the porridge you made." After Natalie's car accident, the original protagonist not only had to console her broken heart every day, but also deal with her violent emotional outbursts. To help her recover, he learned all kinds of skills, including cooking and psychology. Every day he made her different dishes. At first, she refused to eat any of it. He spent hours cooking, but Natalie would angrily knock the food over. It wasn't until later, when she truly felt abandoned by the world and realized that only the protagonist stayed by her side, that she softened and finally drank the porridge he made. "You want porridge? Order delivery or hire someone to cook for you. Why are you calling me? You're not Henry. Who are you really?" My Henry would never talk to me like this, so cold-hearted. I was surprised she could tell. It was true. I wasn't Henry. Does it matter who I am? Let me remind you, we're divorced. We have nothing to do with each other anymore. Where did you take my Henry? I ignored her furious shouting and hung up. I muttered to myself, "Crazy." I had never seen such a shameless protagonist. After everything she had done to the original protagonist, she still had the nerve to ask me those questions. But then again, I wasn't Henry. Where had the original Henry gone? For the first time, I wondered why I was even here in this world. That night, I had a dream. In the dream, someone stood face to face with me, like I was looking into a mirror. Strangely, I wasn't scared at all. I felt a deep sense of familiarity. "Who are you?" "Hello, I'm Henry." The man smiled faintly. "Thank you for helping me." I looked at him in confusion. "Helping you? What did I help you with?" Henry explained everything. He had awakened long ago and no longer wanted to be with Natalie, but he couldn't escape the plot. It was as if something controlled him. His entire life revolved around Natalie. Unable to face this destiny, he developed a powerful obsession. Coincidentally, my obsession resonated with your energy field. Without realizing it, you entered this world, became me, and helped me completely free myself from Natalie. Now I'm no longer manipulated by anyone. I can live freely and be myself. I felt genuinely happy for him. That's great. So, does that mean I can go back now? Henry nodded. Everything suddenly went black. When I woke up, I was lying in bed. On my phone screen was the novel I had been reading earlier. But something was different. The story had changed almost completely. In this version, Henry and Natalie divorced. Natalie was in a car accident and lost a leg. Monica gave Dominic 5% of Lynn Group's shares to keep him. But because Dominic's public persona was tightly controlled, he couldn't escape Natalie. Natalie went crazy searching for Henry, but after filming Harem, Henry went abroad and cut off all contact. Natalie fell into deep depression. The senior executives at Lynn Group wouldn't allow someone like her to remain in power. At a shareholders' meeting, she was removed from her position. She didn't even realize she was gradually losing everything, her wealth and industries drained by the old executives. As for Dominic, he was caught spending the night in a hotel with another actress. A recording surfaced of him saying, "That cripple, I've wanted to break up with her for a long time. If her mom hadn't been willing to give me money, I wouldn't even look at her. If I'd known things would turn out like this, I never would have gotten back with her." It's all bad luck. In the entertainment industry, nothing was worse than a collapsed public image. Fans turned on Dominic. Brands dropped him. Penalties piled up. Natalie drowned herself in alcohol, repeatedly calling Henry's old number, long since deactivated. "Henry, you just don't remember. Once you do, you'll realize how much you truly love me." Everyone might abandon me, but you never would. That's not you. If it were, you'd never give up on me. I couldn't help but laugh. She still didn't understand that the current Henry was the real Henry, and that the real Henry, finally free from the plot, wanted nothing to do with her. On the day Natalie died from alcohol poisoning, Henry returned from abroad to attend his Best Supporting Actor award ceremony. That was the end of the story. Scrolling through the comments, one caught my eye. The ID name was Henry. The reply simply said, "Thank you." Was it just a coincidence? I thought so.